Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you guys won't leave me after this, but yes, you read the title right. I did get rid of my Hellcat. I don't even want to say it that way, but it's true. There's a good reason for it though, and hopefully you'll see it from my way, and I'm going to explain that to you a little bit today. And hopefully you don't get freaked out by my eyes. I got some mad allergies going on and they're super red. Anyway, let's get right to it and I'll tell you why I sold my Hellcat. Okay, so for those of you new to the channel or you didn't know, I changed careers. I no longer work in the car business. I'm a Motorola Solutions representative, so I handle state and local government accounts, so for first responders, and I handle anything from two-way radios to dispatch software to 911 software, anything to do with first responders. I now take care of for the entire east coast of Florida, Martin County, St. Lucie County, and coming in, so that area over there, which makes me drive a lot more. And for those of you that didn't know, of course, I leased my Hellcat on a low mileage lease. I used to drive 2 miles to work back and forth, and it was perfect for that. I could just my one daily car. I could drive it wherever I needed to go. Never went out of town really, and if I did, no big deal. I would use 7,500 miles a year. You can probably see where this is going. I couldn't exactly drive over to the coast, which is about 2 hours away, and back 2 or 3 times a week with the Hellcat. I would have went over the miles. Plus, obviously not the most fuel efficient thing in the world. Now, a lot of you are going, well, Luke, you bought that Scion and you were going to use it as a beater car and then everything was good, right? Well, yeah, that's true. But, there's a certain point in life where, and if you guys can attest to this, if you have a nice car, it's like I found myself not driving the Hellcat at all, basically, maybe once a week when I finally got around to going to get milk or something. I don't really go to the drag strip that much anymore. I'm just burning through money on tires, and I got a family and stuff. And I got this new career I'm trying to focus on, and 2 things were happening. So found myself not really driving the Hellcat that much. Of course, I was paying $500 a month plus $150 in insurance. It's a considerable amount of money, $650 a month, to just look at something in the driveway. And then every day that I do drive, I have to drive a piece of crap. And I'm pulling up to clients, and I'm trying to sell them literally millions of dollars worth of stuff, and I'm driving a 12-year-old busted up Scion that barely has paint on the bumpers. And sometimes I got to take those clients to lunch and look the part, act the part type thing. So it's not like I'm too good to drive a Scion, but as you get it, it's just a little bit. There's definitely, whether we like to or not, we judge people by everything, appearances and everything. But even for myself, a confidence thing, I wanted something nice, and not even the confidence thing. Out of everything else, I just want to drive something nice. I've worked this hard in my life to get to where I am. If now is the first time in my life where I literally have to drive for a living, I want to drive something nice. And unfortunately, the way that I had the Hellcat, that wasn't going to be it. Could I have mixed the two? Drove the Scion one day, and then if I had to take a client out, drive the Hellcat? Yeah, sure, I could have. But, it started getting frustrating. I don't have a whole lot of space in my driveway, so I'd always have to park the Hellcat, up near the garage, and then the Scion in front of it, because my wife parks in the garage for the kids. And I'd have to move the Scion and then move the Hellcat if I wanted to go drive it, and then park the Hellcat and then get back in the Scion and then park it in front of it was just getting to be a big rigmarole, and the insurance costs. And I'm like, what if I just trade the Hellcat back in, sell the Scion, take that money, down payment, and just, if I can find something nice for about the same payment is what I was paying on the Hellcat, I need something I can put miles on, and that's what I did. So it wasn't an easy decision, of course, but and some people I might get a little hate for this, but it's okay. Everybody's a little different. Later on down the road, if I want another Hellcat, I'll buy another Hellcat. It's not really that big of a deal. Hopefully this job will, set me to the next level as far as pay scale, and then I can buy an actual toy down the road instead of just lease it, and it can be something I can keep for a while and actually modify and stuff like that. So You know, that just wasn't the right time in my life right now, for what I needed it to do. So anyway, I'll show you guys what I ended up with. I don't know if you can catch a couple cues from what you see on the camera right now, but I've always really liked these cars, and I said, you know what, if I'm gonna get something, why not get something else that I really liked? I actually looked into them before I got the Hellcat, so I found a really good deal on this car, and I'll show it to you now. I hope you guys like it. Alright guys, well here it is. It's a 2015 Audi A7, and had just under 43,000 miles on it when I got it. And you know, I've always really liked the A7 look. I guess you get all the Sportback look, kind of like the Kia Stinger, things of that nature. You know, I've always been a wagon fan too, so it's kind of a mix between the two. You know, I was even looking into an S7 or an RS7 before I got the Hellcat, you know, if you watched a couple of my other videos. The reason I chose this car was just, you know, budgetary for right now. It's going to be my commuter and just a daily, and put miles on it, so it's got good performance, good fuel economy, and also it has great looks, and it's going to be comfortable for the rides. So I wanted this year in particular. You're probably wondering why didn't I get something newer, but I really actually like the way that front end looks on the 2015. As you can see, it has the pointier headlights, and I've always loved that look. This one had all the options that I wanted. I actually happened to have wheels that I really liked. The dual 5-spoke are really nice. You can see the hood here. I had the whole car paint corrected by my buddy MK6 guy while I was gone on my cruise, and I'm just kind of showing that off here. Supercharged badge looks kind of cool. Just missing a couple cylinders, but maybe we can fix that soon. You can see the paint correction there as well. It's like glass now. And just kind of looking at the spoiler at the back. You know, the A7s, S7s, RS7s have that spoiler that come up, I think about 85 miles an hour automatically. But there's a little button inside you can push to just kind of pop it up whenever you want to. So I leave it down all the time, but I just popped it open to show you guys here. But it's kind of cool with it open. So depending on what I'm doing, I might just pop it open for giggles. I just really like the way the car looks. Digging the color, and this fits what I'm going to be doing now. Alright guys, so there you go. It's my 2015 Audi A7. I got it with about 42,000 miles on it, and I was able to break even on payments. And I can kind of tell you the deal that I structured, since this was you know, channel about car deals. You know, I looked for a long time, and I was actually going to get an Audi S4. You might have seen a little hint about that on my channel with the poll. I didn't mention anything about replacing the Hellcat though, because honestly I was just going to, there was another part of me that was going to expect a large paycheck at the end of the year, and I was going to keep the Hellcat and then just buy something cash. But then I was thinking, well, I'm like, well, then I still won't be driving the Hellcat as much, and I'll have another car payment, or, you know, cash, or either, if it was going to be mostly cash, I'd still have another payment or whatever it is, or I'd dump a whole lot of money into that, and I'd still have two cars. So for now, I just decided to just go with the one car. So I was looking around at S4s because everybody said that they were the junk, and I did see that they were pretty neat, and they had a bunch of mods and stuff you could do to them still, and they looked great. But then I started thinking, I've always really liked the A7s, you know, or the S7, RS7, the 7, not series, but you get where I'm going with that, the Sportback look, kind of like the Kia Stinger and things of the like. So I went to look for S4s, and I looked for a good couple weeks, and I was just like, man, something about it just wasn't, I just really wasn't super excited about it. And I was like, you know what, I got two kids that are gonna be in the back seat, and you know, the S4 is not as big as the A7, so I started looking around for A7s, and they were either black, white, or gray, you know. And if you've seen my channel for a while, I always like colors, something with some color, and I was like, damn, they don't make Audis with hardly any color. Well, I came across this beauty, and it was in Panama City. So if you know where I'm at, I'm in Central Florida. So Panama City was in the Panhandle. It's a 6-hour drive. So I said, well, that's definitely about the limit that I'd be willing to go, because I got to trade the car in too. I was like, let's see what they give me for my trade. and if this is really the car I wanted. The other thing that was nice too, I was missing a lot of the luxuries of if I'm going to drive, adaptive cruise control, lane sense, 360 camera, ventilated seats, like all the fancy stuff that I had on my Scat Pack, except for the 360 camera, that I was missing out on every day. So this particular Audi was a Prestige, which is their top model, and it had all those bells and whistles. So, and it was right in the price range and under the mileage that I was willing to go. It was really perfect. All right, so yeah, I was, missing out on a lot of the luxuries that I was going to have if I was going to be driving every day. So, to explain the deal a little bit, I was hitting up a lot of dealers, and obviously just putting out feelers to see what they were going to give me for my car, because the buyout on it was about 57. It was right at 57.1. And I checked the auction price and stuff like that, just to kind of get an idea on what it was going to be, and NADA and Kelley Blue Book and all that. Well, unfortunately, Kelley Blue Book, for whatever reason, was really low on the car. It was actually around like 52, 53. Yet the auction prices, like what they were actually going for at auction, was like 57. And even NADA had it at 57. That wasn't retail, that was trade-in or wholesale price. So I was like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. So I started hitting up dealers and just saying, hey, I want this car. It was actually a car that I was interested in, and then I would say, well, okay, what can we do on my trade? Send them all the pictures, all that stuff that I did pretty much when I went to go buy the Hellcat. I had a lot of detailed pictures on the Hellcat, how many miles, how I took care of it, and blah, blah, blah. Now, if you watch my channel and you knew, my stupid neighbor backed into my car and in my driveway, and of course put damage report on my record. And I was super pissed about that, because nothing I could do about it, and I couldn't file for diminished value because I was not the owner of the car. I even called Chrysler Capital and stuff like that, and they're like, yeah, we don't do that. Yeah, sorry. Basically what it comes down to is the end price, the residual value, cannot be negotiated or changed. So technically that would be changing the end residual value if they filed for diminished value. So they just don't do it. So I got screwed. A lot of people were like giving me about 52 to 53. Some said 54 maybe. They'd have to see it. They want to, well, you're going to have to drive in here, and we're going to have to look at it. Like, buddy, I'm 3 hours away. I'm not going to drive up there just to get pissed at the price you're going to give me. So I was kind of getting discouraged a little bit. I'm like, damn, I got to find a cheaper car now if I'm going to want to do this, but then I don't really want to do it if I'm going to lose my ass. So I was kind of just pushing it away. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait for the right deal if I'm going to do this. I'm not going to give up money on the Hellcat. So I realized that might take a while with the accident on there. Well, I was only searching about 200-mile radius. And I said, you know what? I drove 4 or 5 hours to get the Hellcat. Why not stretch the radius out a little bit? So I did 500 miles. And I started searching for A7s instead of S4s. And up popped this A7 at a Mazda dealer. And it had just the right, like I said, it had just the right amount of miles, right in the price range. And it had all the options. And I was like, there's got to be an accident on this Carfax or something. But looked it up, clean Carfax, 2 owners. And I said, all right, well, now they're going to give me the same, BS for my trade. And I called them. I said, hey, look, man, I'm 6 hours away. I got to get an appraisal sight unseen. I got really detailed pictures on it. And I take good care of it and all that junk. I said, I'll be upfront with you. You're going to find out anyway. You run the VIN number. You're going to see damage reported. And I gave him the whole story and pictures of the night that it happened and everything. So I was just right up front, not wasting anybody's time. And he calls me back. He's like, okay, no problem, man. I said, look, this is what I'm trying to do, honestly. I'm trying to be, and now this is where you normally don't do this, on a payment buy, but I knew that if I did get my payment, that it was going to be a really good deal. So I knew in the background, I was doing the calculations on if I got this much for my car and they sold me their car for this much, and I got this interest rate at this term, that a $500 payment would be a good deal. So I went off that because I knew they were going to have to work to get to that. So I said, look, man, paying $500 a month for my Hellcat. I got a great lease deal on it. He's like, holy shit, that is a good lease deal. And I was like, look, I'm trying to get this car with this much money down. I said a couple money down, give one variable in there. I said with like 2, 3, 4 grand down, trying to get to this number. You can get me to $500 a month. That's what I'm trying to do. And the first time he came back with my trade was 55 grand. And I was like, holy shit, okay, these guys they're not giving me the typical runaround. And, they didn't give me the whole, oh, you got to be here. Yeah, man, yeah, you got to come in. We're not going to give you. There's a lot of people were doing that. And these guys didn't do that. They went right through it, and they came through with a strong first offer. And I was like, all right, well, 55, I mean, shoot, that's actually really good. Like, I probably would have been happy right there. And I was like, damn it. But it ended up being a little bit higher. The payment was like $560 or something like that. And I said, damn it. And, what also kills you on the lease, too, is now since when you trade in a lease, you don't get the tax benefit. Now, a lot of states don't do that. But normally in Florida, if you trade a car in, you'd only pay the difference on the taxes. So technically, in this case, if I would have owned the car, I wouldn't have had to pay any taxes because my car that I was trading in was worth more than the car I was buying. So, but in this case, I had to pay all the taxes on the car too, which basically was killing the deal. And I said, damn it, man. I was like, if I didn't have to pay those taxes, we'd pretty much be right there. He's like, yeah, no, I know, man. He's like, I know we're close. He's like, let me see what I can do. Let me talk to everybody and, tell them the situation and see if there's anything we can do. So Brother Man calls back and I don't know if it was the next day or something like that, but so they went ahead and gave me another $1,500 for the car. Now again, you're like, oh, well, they could just put it on the other end and blah, blah, blah. Well, I checked that, and the car is going at auction. We're going for about 31, 30,800 to 31. And they only had it marked up to like 32.5. So really, in the grand scheme of things, that wasn't that bad. I know everybody's got to make money. I'm not going to sit here and ask them to sell me a car at wholesale. I'm just not going to do it. They gave me fair money for my car. They had a fair price for their car. And the interest rate checked out with what our local credit union that we usually base all of our good rates on was. So they gave me good money for my trade. They weren't overcharging for theirs. And they gave me the best rate that I backwards checked with my local dealership. So I did it. There was nothing really left there for me to say, oh, well, can you sell me your car for a wholesale? It's like there wasn't anything left. They didn't care about the easy lip that I had on. They didn't care about the diffuser. They didn't care about the fact that I had changed the rear tires, and heck, they were getting bald. So it was just like there was a lot of things. I just swapped the grill out. They didn't bitch about that. They weren't nitpicking anything. They just said, come in, and we'll sign the paperwork and be done. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, it was an easy transaction. It's what I did at my dealership. We did the whole thing online, over the phone. I walked into the dealership, shook the guy's hand, got the mileage off my car. I took the new one for a test drive real quick. Everything was fine. Went in, signed papers, and I left. So it was an easy, smooth transaction. It was a fair deal. And I know I'm going to miss certain aspects of the Hellcat. I always will. There's nothing that's going to beat that visceral connection when you hit that gas and the earth shatters beneath you as 700... Sorry, people keep calling me in the middle of the video. Nobody ever calls me. I know there's going to be certain things that I miss about the Hellcat. Of course, that visceral connection when you push your foot to the floor. And the ground, the gates of hell rip open underneath you, and then just the sound. Nothing beats that. That was serving a certain purpose in my life. When I only had to drive 2 miles to work, and my life has changed now. So this car is just going to fit my lifestyle better right now. And again, it's not to say that I'm not going to get something down the road. Is it going to be a Hellcat? I don't know. Just depends on how life goes. But for right now, this is me. And so far, I'm enjoying the car, the ride back. Ugh, people are turning around, though. I'm in some weird congestion thing where they're diverting people off the main road. And there's people turning around now. And there's going to be some... That's the cool thing about the Audis is, especially the forced induced ones, supercharged V6. Same engine as the S4. You know, there's APR tuning, and I mean, a flash on these things gives you like almost 100 horsepower at the crank. And then you can change the pulleys in this just like a Hellcat. You know, now that I own this one and I don't lease it, you know, I can do things like that and not worry about it so much. So yes, there's going to be some mods in the future, probably some wheels, maybe a drop, maybe even airbags, because these just look good when they're slammed on the ground with some good wheels. Thanks for tuning in and watching and hearing my story. If you have any questions about this car, or, you know, still got some questions on why I sold the Hellcat, leave them in the comment below. Be sure to like the video if you did, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one, guys.